the mind that cannot be broken. You may fetter my leg, but not even Zeus himself can overpower my will. Epictetus. Listen to those words for a moment. A man who was once a slave, beaten, owned, discarded, and yet within him lived a freedom no chain could bind. Picture this. The year is quiet, Rome at dawn. The air is heavy with the faint smell of smoke from last night's torches. The marble streets, still damp from the night dew, glisten as the sun peeks over the hills. In the shadows of a narrow alley, a man sits on a warm wooden stool, his back bent slightly, his legs weak, but his eyes sharp, unyielding. This man is Epictetus, once broken in body, but never in spirit. Around him, life goes on. A baker kneads dough with calloused hands, the scent of warm bread rising into the cool morning. A soldier passes by, the clink of armor echoing in the distance. The city stirs, but Epictetus sits still, teaching his students about the one fortress no enemy can storm, the mind. He tells them gently, they may whip you, they may bind you, they may strip away everything you own, but they cannot touch your judgment, your reason, your ability to decide how you see the world. And here we are, centuries later, still wrestling with the same truth. Think of your own life. The world today does not chain us with iron shackles, but it binds us in other ways. Endless notifications buzzing in our pockets, deadlines that press against our chest, doubts that whisper in the night. We scroll, we compare, we lose ourselves in the illusions of others' lives. And slowly, without noticing, our will weakens. But Epictetus reminds us, the true prison is not outside. It is the story you tell yourself in your mind. Imagine just for a moment if you could hold your mind like a fortress, stone walls unshaken by insults, worries, or losses. A stronghold that no fear, no anger, no distraction could breach. This is the heart of Stoicism, the mind that cannot be broken. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor philosopher, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Now picture Marcus, not on a throne of luxury, not feasting in golden halls, but in a military tent on the cold frontiers of the Danube. The air smells of wet earth and iron. His soldiers are weary, the enemy pressing on every side. Outside, the wind howls. Inside, he sits alone with a dim oil lamp, writing in his journal words not meant for anyone else. He does not write about victory parades or glory. He writes about discipline, about waking each day ready to face hardship, about not letting anger or grief control him. He writes about his own weakness and how he must rise above it. Even the emperor of Rome knew, the world will not bend to your desires, but your mind, your judgments, your choices, your focus, these are yours to command. And that lesson is not just for emperors and philosophers. It is for you. For the mornings when you wake and already feel behind. For the nights when anxiety creeps in like smoke under a door. For the days when nothing seems to go as planned, when people speak against you, when life feels unfair. Remember, the fortress is not out there. It is in here. But here is the challenge. The walls of the mind are not built once and left standing forever. They are built brick by brick, moment by moment, through practice. Seneca wrote, "Disaster is virtue's opportunity." Think about that. Each hardship, each inconvenience, each insult is not an attack, but an invitation. A chance to place one more stone on the wall, the man cut off in traffic. A chance to practice patience. The project that fails, a chance to practice resilience. The harsh word from a friend, a chance to practice forgiveness. Every difficulty is a training ground. Every obstacle, a lesson. So let me ask you, when was the last time you allowed something small, a comment, a delay, a disappointment, to ruin your peace? You gave away your fortress. You left the gates open, but you can begin again. Right now, breathe slowly. Let the air fill your chest and let it go. Feel the ground beneath you. Notice you are still here. Your breath, your reason, your choices, they are still yours. The world can scream, but you decide whether you let it enter. This is the unbreakable mind. Tomorrow morning, before the world floods into your day, take just 1 minute to sit in silence. Close your eyes. Tell yourself, I control how I see this day. My mind is mine. My judgments are mine. Nothing outside can command me. Say it once, say it slowly, and carry it with you. That will be your first stone in the wall. This is where we begin. A slave who found freedom within. An emperor who sought strength not in armies, but in discipline. And you, standing at the same doorway, holding the same choice. To build the mind that cannot be broken, you sit in silence. You breathe. You whisper to yourself, my mind is mine. And then the world comes rushing back. The phone buzzes. The emails pile up. You scroll, and suddenly you are staring at the polished lives of others. Their victories, their beauty, their celebrations. And without even noticing, your fortress begins to crack. Comparison. Seneca warned us, he who envies others does not obtain peace of mind. He knew envy was not a wound inflicted by others. It is a wound we cut into ourselves. Every moment spent wishing for another's life is a moment abandoned from our own. Picture a Roman baker at dawn. He wakes before the sun, his hands raw from kneading dough, the smell of flour clinging to his skin. His life is simple. No marble villa, no titles, no wealth. And yet, in his quiet corner of Rome, he bakes bread that feeds soldiers, children, and merchants. He does his work. He fulfills his part. Now picture another man, staring at the baker, wishing he had his skill. And the baker, staring at the wealthy merchant, wishing he had his fortune. And the merchant, staring at the senator, wishing he had his influence. A chain of envy, each link rusting away the peace of the mind. Do you see? No one is satisfied when the gaze is always elsewhere. But the Stoics remind us, look inward. Live your own portion fully. Your life is not theirs. Their victories are not yours. Their struggles are not yours. And their path cannot be walked with your feet. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about others, unless it be with a view to some mutual benefit. In today's world, how often do we speculate? Scrolling through endless lives that are not our own, measuring ourselves against images crafted to impress, weighing our worth on scales that were never meant for us. But ask yourself, what if you pulled your eyes away from their story and turned them fully toward your own? Imagine the baker who stops wishing for the merchant's wealth and instead finds joy in the warmth of the bread he pulls from the oven. Imagine yourself doing the same, finding dignity in your craft, however small, however unseen. The fortress grows stronger when you guard it against envy. But envy is not the only storm that threatens the mind. There is another enemy, more subtle, more insidious: distraction. Epictetus said, no man is free who is not master of himself. Think about that. You may walk through the world unshamed, but if your attention is pulled this way and that, you are no freer than a prisoner. Picture again Marcus Aurelius, the emperor. Each day, senators call for him, soldiers demand his orders, enemies gather at the borders, family tugs at his heart. Distraction could have ruled him. And yet, in the quiet of his tent, he wrote in his journal, returning always to himself. If an emperor can carve stillness from chaos, why not you? Today, we drown in distractions. Every vibration of the phone, every open tab, every flashing screen. Every moment we run from silence, and in running, we weaken the fortress. But silence is not empty. Silence is where the walls are built. Try this. Next time your hand reaches for the phone, pause. Ask yourself, do I control this action, or does it control me? Even once a day, if you pull back and choose silence, you lay another stone in the wall. And then there is the deepest test of all, emotion. Anger, fear, grief, desire. These are the earthquakes that shake the fortress walls. Seneca wrote, "Anger, if not restrained, is more destructive than any other passion." Imagine a Roman general before battle, his soldiers restless, his enemies taunting, his pride wounded. If he lets anger drive him, he charges too soon, and all is lost. But if he steadies himself, if he holds the line, he becomes unshakable. Now think of your own battles. The sharp word from a colleague, the betrayal of a friend, the insult from a stranger online. These are your battlefields. Do you charge blindly into anger, or do you hold the line? Remember this, an emotion is only a visitor. It arrives, it knocks, but it does not have the right to enter unless you open the door. The unbreakable mind is not a mind without emotion. It is a mind that rules over emotion, like a rider guiding a wild horse. So, what do we do with all this? Envy, distraction, emotion, each one a storm. The Stoic does not run from storms. The Stoic builds walls strong enough to withstand them. Choose one storm, only one. If envy is your storm, then practice gratitude. List 3 things, simple, ordinary, that are already yours. If distraction is your storm, then practice presence. Spend 5 minutes today with no screen, no noise, just you, your breath, and the moment. If emotion is your storm, then practice pause. The next time anger rises, breathe once, slowly, before you speak or act. One storm, one stone, each day. The unbreakable mind is not built in a day. It is built in the quiet victories, the unseen battles, the discipline to hold your ground when the world pulls at you. And slowly, you begin to notice nothing outside can take your peace, because your mind is yours, and yours alone. We have faced the storms of envy, distraction, and emotion, but there is one trial greater than all others, a trial no person, emperor or slave, can avoid: loss. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every morning, "You could leave life right now." Let that determine what you do and say and think. To the unprepared, these words sound heavy, but to the Stoic, they are freedom. Picture Marcus again, walking through the camp on a cold morning. The mist clings to the earth, soldiers wrap themselves in rough cloaks, and the fires crackle low. He looks at each man, knowing some will not see another dawn. He looks at himself, knowing his reign, his power, his breath are all borrowed. And yet, instead of despair, he writes of gratitude. Gratitude for the present moment, for the chance to act with virtue here and now. This is the heart of resilience. To understand that all things can be taken, wealth, health, status, even life itself. But the one thing that remains until your final breath is your mind, your will, your judgment. Seneca said it with stark clarity. We are always complaining that our days are few, and acting as though there would be no end of them. How often do we live as if tomorrow is promised? We put off what matters. We chase what fades. We forget that the fortress is not built tomorrow. It is built today. Think again of Epictetus, the slave who was beaten and crippled. Everything outside of him was taken. And yet he could still say, "You may fetter my leg, but not my will." This is the secret of the unbreakable mind. Not that it avoids loss, not that it never suffers, but that it remains sovereign, even in the face of suffering. Imagine yourself one day facing hardship, illness, failure, betrayal, the passing of someone you love. In that moment, you may feel the walls of your fortress shake. But remember, the foundation is yours. The foundation is choice. You can choose bitterness, or you can choose dignity. You can choose despair, or you can choose courage. You can choose to see loss as the thief of life, or as the teacher of life's preciousness. The world will try to break you, but it can only break the surface. The core, the citadel of your mind, remains yours. And so, what is left? To live fully. To use each moment as if it were a coin you will never hold again. To greet each trial as a chance to strengthen your walls. To love those beside you fiercely, because you do not own them. You only share time with them. This is the art of the unbreakable mind. Not to escape life, but to walk through it with calm, with clarity, with courage. Tonight, before you sleep, take one brief moment. Whisper to yourself, if tomorrow never comes, was I true to myself today? Did I live with presence, with gratitude, with discipline? Do not ask it to frighten yourself. Ask it to awaken yourself. If the answer is yes, rest in peace. If the answer is no, then rise tomorrow ready to place another stone. The Stoics have passed, their bodies long gone, their cities turned to dust. But their words remain, like torches handed down through the dark. Now they are in your hands. Remember this, your mind is the one thing no chain can bind. Your will is the one fortress no storm can level. And if you guard it, if you build it, if you live by it, you will walk through life unbroken. The world can touch your body, your fortune, your days, but it cannot touch the mind that chooses to remain free. Thank you for walking this path with me.